Welcome to That's Canon, a podcast talking about the Canon film series and other similar movies. This is episode 45, and I'm one of your hosts, Phil.
And I'm the other host, Greg.
And Greg, we
Yes.
decided we're going to watch Cocoon. And
Yeah, no problem.
and then we ran into the similar issue that we got into with the Cannonball Run. Remember when we wanted to see that?
Mm-hmm.
Where the first movie is non-existent and the sequel is everywhere.
Stupid internet age. This as convenient as streaming is, it's still so frustrating when you come across something. Like, we're so spoiled by being able to watch anything at any time, so that when something comes up where it doesn't exist anywhere, like James Cameron's The Abyss was in that kind of limbo for a long time. You just could not watch it. You couldn't stream it anywhere, not even for a rental fee. It's so frustrating when that happens.
And if you go to Amazon, you could buy the DVD for $40.
What?
Yeah. Insanity.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
So we pivoted, and then we found that in 1985, another horror movie came out. Kind of similar, because it does deal with, would you say Alien?
Yeah, I think it's heavily implied that it's an alien.
We found
comes from outer space.
Yeah, comes from Uranus. We found that in 1985, the Larry Cohen film The Stuff was released.
The Stuff. Woo! Classic.
Where's the stuff?
The stuff is here now. Great new day sensation. Light and free now. Gives you elevation. Enough is never enough. Enough is never enough of the stuff.
The stuff, the taste that makes you hungry for more.
Yes. Make no assumptions. We both love this film, and you'll be able to hear it as we talk about it. There's just no way for us to not love The Stuff.
I think this is one of those movies, I'm sure we've talked about this in other episodes too, where I remember as a kid very distinctly being at a video store and seeing, I feel like I fell in love with the cover to this movie before I'd ever actually seen it.
Oh yeah.
Because it's got that, that kind of guy in green, bathed in green light, and he's just kind of melting into ooze. It's such a distinctive cover.
And it says,
I'm pretty sure
it says warning at the top. If you see the stuff in stores, call the police. If you have it in your home, don't touch it. Get out. The stuff is a product of nature, a deadly living organism. It is an addictive and destructive. It can overcome your mind and take over your body, and nothing can stop it.
It's so cool.
It is.
And as a kid, it's just one of those kind of spooky, weird looking covers that man, what a golden age of horror movie covers this came from, because it's definitely up there with the best.
I can definitely see little Phil walking through a movie rental place back when those existed, and vividly seeing the Evil Dead 2 cover, because it's got the skull with the eye.
Yep.
The Stuff, Child's Play. This is definitely up on the list of rememberable movie covers.
Yep. Classic VHS. I'm sure we'll get into the financial history of this one, but I'm assuming this did very well on video, right?
Oh, I mean, so let's take a look here. The home video, it's been obviously re-released multiple times throughout the course of its existence. So yeah, this one definitely is. It was popular after the fact. That's for sure. The Stuff didn't make a lot of money when it came out. And I think even I was trying to figure it out how much it made. It doesn't even list.
Okay, so yeah, like a lot of probably other Larry Cohen movies, it did much better in video. It didn't have a great wide theatrical run, because I think, would you say The Stuff is probably his most well known?
Hey, you know what?
Movies?
I'm glad you asked that. And let's get Larry Cohen, as you just said, is the director of The Stuff. Now, Larry Cohen is the director of 21 movies, right? And I would say The Stuff, which lands almost perfectly in the middle of his filmography, is his best movie. Is it his, and it probably his, I would be willing to wager his most well known, despite the fact that he directed a trilogy called It's Alive. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, that was gonna wonder if that was maybe in the running for most well known, at least the first one, because I think that's another one that has one of those really memorable covers of the baby reaching out of the little carriage and
The bassinet. Yeah.
Yeah, the bassinet. Yep.
And I remember buying the It's Alive 3-pack from Best Buy back in the day when they used to have aisles and aisles of DVDs. And
back in the day.
Yeah. And I high school Phil sat down with some of his friends and it was like, okay, let's watch It's Alive. And I remember all my friends
What the fuck, Phil?
hating every moment of the movie. It me just sitting there with a giant smile on my face going like, this is the greatest, guys.
Come on, guys, did you like this?
And
guys, where'd you go?
Yeah, no one wanted to watch It Lives Again or It's Alive 3 Island of the Alive.
And they never slept over your house again.
Never. That and Cue the Winged Serpent, which was a Joe Bob Briggs thing on Shudder.
That was actually the first Larry Cohen movie that I ever saw. I'm a latecomer to his filmography. I saw that one first when Joe Bob did it. It's not definitely not my favorite, but I guess maybe that because he did it, maybe that's more well known to. I think there are a couple ones up there.
It's also the first movie where Michael Moriarty and Larry Cohen team up. Michael Moriarty playing Mo in The Stuff.
Mo Money.
I love Michael Moriarty in these Larry Cohen productions. He is so, I guess, like sleazy and likable at the same time.
I have like the same hard time pinning down why you like, because you're right. It's kind of like he's kind of like a sleazeball. He's kind of like a jerk, but he's also, he reminds me a lot. It's like the way that you approach that character, the way you approach what's his name in Community, Joel McHale's character.
Yeah,
where they're kind of an asshole to everyone, but they're also like you kind of like them for it. They kind of have a charm to them. It's hard to Michael Moriarty, he's just kind of a weird dude. He's a weird looking dude too. But he just works in these movies so well.
Michael Moriarty looks like a normal person and they just pointed at him and they're like, you're gonna be in movies.
Hey, you want to be in a movie? Oh, sure.
It's kind of weird, right? Like he has no movie star appeal factor to him.
Not a bit, no.
Which, Michael, I know you don't listen to this, but if you are, this isn't a slight. This is just, it's actually one of my favorite things about people like you in film. You look like you could be someone. Mm-hmm. I'm never going to be Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're not the classic like Hollywood hunk pretty boy who's like on the poster and leading man in an action movie. You look like a normal, approachable dude, and it grounds the movies you're in much more so than if you're like a Chris Hemsworth or a Brad Pitt or someone who's like the way like the People Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive kind of people.
Exactly. You're my Sexiest Man Alive, Michael Moriarty, for the year of 1985.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, and you know what? Because I'm glad we brought up Michael Moriarty this early. That I did watch a Vinegar Syndrome movie with him in it called Dark Tower. And what's really interesting is there's moments in the film where you can definitely tell there was no scripted dialogue for the moment, and they just ADR'd Michael Moriarty saying stuff like, "Oh yeah, if I just look this up in the computer here and I move this over there." Yeah, he's just kind of like stream of conscious talking. That's what made
with no lines
the Dark Tower so enjoyable. It was just Michael Moriarty just being Michael Moriarty.
ad-libbing technobabble nonsense.
Exactly. But let's go ahead. Let's get into the film. And it starts off. it starts off like in a place that's like snowing. It's like a mine facility right on the outside, and there's just an old guy walking around, and he comes up to a pulsating hole of white fluff, and like
Yeah.
any fucking genius, he immediately eats it
Right to the mouth. Right to the mouth.
like
Oh
a
my god.
like a child.
Yeah, exactly like a child. Like he smells it, he puts his fingers in it, and then he tastes it. I mean, you practically expect this guy to shove it in his nose next.
Yeah.
He's like, it's like toddler behavior.
All the while he's like, this is good stuff. I wonder what this stuff is. Like, we're just really getting you into this thing is going to be called the stuff.
He wonders what it is after he's tasted it.
This
could be antifreeze for all he knows, you idiot.
I can definitely say this. Even when it snows, unless it's freshly fallen snow, I would never scoop up snow and pop it in my mouth.
Heck no. You don't know it's in that snow.
Exactly. Like, it's got to be like premium, high grade, fresh snow.
Like it's like actively snowing and you saw it hit the ground.
Yeah. And this isn't like a euphemism for like cocaine. It's snow that comes from the sky.
From the sky.
But yeah, and then his buddy comes over and he's like, "Hey, let me eat that too." And they're just,
"Here, taste this." Okay.
The only
he eats it like off his finger too.
I know,
it's kind of strange.
So I never like Greg. I know we're buddies, but I'm never going to eat anything literally off of your hands.
Here, eat this mysterious white ground fluff off my finger, brah.
But yeah, they're swapping back their stuff. They're loving it, and then we cut to a shirtless child in his room, and he's swatting away bugs. And he's like, like, you know,
getting eaten alive.
Exactly. Just kind
get
of
it. Foreshadowing.
Oh my God, I didn't get it. Wow. I think I just get so enamored with the film. Any subtext is over my head.
Was long gone, yeah. That weird plot is just too juicy. You're overlooking all the symbolism.
I am.
Larry Cohen, you genius.
I just want to see old men sucking stuff off of their fingers. But we follow the kid. He's gonna get a late night snack, and as he opens up the fridge, there's a bottle of stuff, and the white stuff inside of it is moving around.
Yeah, I feel like we should almost say at this point, like, Larry Cohen movies, they do not waste time and fuck around.
No,
we are
don't.
like 5 minutes into the movie. There were no opening credits. We fade into this movie with the guy eating stuff off the ground. Like, we're not even 5 minutes in, and we are already established in the fact that the stuff is being marketed as like a consumer product. It's like in the fridge, like you said, it's got like a nice, it looks like a yogurt cup with like a nice flashy logo on it. Like, we're 5 minutes in and we're already establishing that this random ground fluff is being sold to people and is apparently moving around on its own.
You know,
does not fuck around.
I think it's great that there's just cut out the crap. I don't need to see them packaging it and stuff like that, right? Just get right to it. But I think if we took a time machine back to 1985 and we asked someone to watch this stuff, they would almost snoot their nose at the film going, this is so unbelievable. But I think it speaks more about people today, and we'll get into it as we go through the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I could totally see something like this kind of happening, right? Like,
yeah, it's weirdly believable bit of like, you know, a cautionary tale about consumerism, which exactly. I'm sure he had intended going in. But yeah, and honestly, going back to the fact that it rushes so quickly to this point plot wise, like, considering how many movies we watched on this podcast with just like 90% fluff and drawn out scenes of like people walking to cars and walking in front doors of buildings, it's just so much fluff and crap. I really appreciate a movie that trims the fat.
Exactly. It cuts out the fluff and just gets to the stuff.
See what you did there? We got jokes, folks.
Got them for days. But the dad, I even before the dad gets like stuff mind controlled, he's kind of an asshole because he's like he walks up to his kid the kid's like, the stuff is moving inside the fridge, and he's like, go back to fucking bed.
Shut the fuck up. I thought you were a burglar. Get the fuck to bed.
Like,
Jesus.
Dad, calm down. But
he is like a classic 80s movie dad where like the parents never believe the kids when they say that crazy shit is happening.
Yep.
And the parents are always like at best not present at all, but usually they're just like outwardly antagonistic towards their kids.
Yes.
And this is no exception.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. We transition to one of the first of a few stuff commercials. And
yes,
this one, I gotta say, while creepy, would be a commercial that exists in real life. It's an older woman, but not old, not Ellen Burstyn old. And
the gold standard.
She's kind of like sexualizing. She's like, I used to be a little girl, but now I'm a mature woman, and little girls eat ice cream, but I eat the stuff.
It's a mature taste for mature women.
It's so creepy, sexual. Yeah.
It's a weird way to talk about a food product. Like it feels like a commercial for a perfume or something.
It does.
Or like lingerie, like a Victoria's Secret commercial or something like that has those kind of like sex sells aspects to it. Not like a yogurt alternative.
Exactly.
Right?
When you watch yogurt commercials, it's Jamie Lee Curtis going, I can shit now. Or
Activia.
Yeah. It'd be like if they were like trying to advertise cucumbers sexually. Like, why are we watching this?
Why are my kids watching this?
Yeah, exactly. Why am I turned on? But so
Jamie Lee Curtis, you could sell me anything.
Exactly. After the commercial, we cut to a bunch of old people on a boat. Obviously, they're rich, and essentially what they're trying to do is they need to tank the stuff. Right there's this issue with the ice cream industry not wanting to be taken over by the stuff, and the stuff wanting to take over the ice cream industry because they want to be seen as like the premier go-to food. So they call upon the services of Michael Moriarty, who plays
the industrial spy
Michael Moriarty, ex-FBI agent turned industrial spy.
Heck yeah. What a career path.
Casual murderer, better of women. Mo.
Weird looking, like thinning hair, like male pattern baldness guy, kind of a weird speech pattern, but boy, the ladies can't get enough.
Yeah, exactly. Isn't that so weird? He's like every dynamic that a man needs to be in a film, but he looks like he belongs on SNL.
just some random chud everyman.
And they set up his character so well because he's kind of like fast talking, and everyone that he meets up with is kind of like, hey, weren't you like an ex-FBI agent? And he was like, yeah, but I got kicked off the force. And then like another person will engage him, and you get you get a reminder of what he is and how good he is at being an industrial espionager.
Yeah, they really established the fact that like they hate this guy, like they hate him personally, but they acknowledge how good he is at what he does, and he has this kind of like Columbo quality to him. The character, I mean,
he does,
where like he comes off as an idiot, but then he does something really smart and with a lot of forethought, like bugging the boat that these ice cream executives are all on, so we can listen on before he kind of meets up with them.
Exactly.
Like it's such a cool character.
I'm glad you said it, because so they all get, the ice cream executives hire Mo to come aboard the ship, and Mo starts rambling off all the things that these ice cream executives just said about him. And he was like, oh, by the way, I bugged you last night. And he pulls out like a listening device. And I know you're in charge of quote of the weeks, but my quote for this movie would be Mo going, "No one is as dumb as I appear to be."
That is a good line. That was definitely in the running.
Which-
Unlike a lot of other movies we watch, which are like, shit, what's the quote of the week going to be? This movie is full of candidates for quotes of the week, and you picked a good one.
You could take every piece of dialogue Mo says.
Oh, yeah.
It almost could be, because it speaks volumes about his character. He realizes how dumb he looks to everyone
it
else.
plays it up.
And plays it.
Mhm.
He plays it
Plays
so
that
well.
strength. Mr. Mo, you're not as dumb as you look. Nobody's as dumb as I look.
Exactly. It's such a Homer Simpson piece of dialogue.
But said with like gravitas that only Michael Moriarty could pull off.
Exactly. I love it. I absolutely love it. So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
all these executives, they're hiring him to tank the stuff. And as he exits the boat, he casually punches someone and goes, "Hey, you're part of the FBI." And everyone's like, "What the fuck?"
Tell your guys at the force this. Wham! Just like sucker punches him in the jaw.
And then we get a hard cut back to the family, and the little boy. We see that he has a brother. I almost forgot the word brother, but the brother, the mom,
other kid,
and the dad,
family.
exactly. They're all obsessed with the stuff, and the kid obviously is creeped out because he saw it moved, and the rest of the family are kind of like, "Hey, you're stupid. Like, this stuff is still really good," and they start eating it. And
It's low calorie.
the mom's like, "I lost 5 pounds this week."
Wow.
He absolutely refuses to eat it. And like any good parent, they go, "Get your ass back upstairs." And you sit in your room and think about this, because he refuses to eat the stuff, despite the fact that their house is filled with other foods.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at this point in the movie, they haven't gone totally cult yet. Like they still have eggs and toast and things like when they're having breakfast in the morning, and the stuff is just kind of like an add-on.
Yeah. It's an
But you can already
accoutrement.
tell they accoutrement. Yeah, they've got it as like a side dish, but it's not quite the like full stuff cult yet. But we'll get there.
Dun dun dun. And we
Dun, dun.
cut back to Michael Moriarty, and he's doing science stuff with scientists, and they're all like, "This has got amino acids and other stuff."
Yeah, they're trying to crack the code of the stuff formula. Like the ice cream guys want to know what the hell's in it so they can copy it, basically. And Science Man is totally bamboozled. I don't know what this is.
And then we cut to another commercial, and again, it's like super sexy. Like, you got some very attractive women in fur coats. They're walking down a catwalk. They're eating the stuff, and this is where we're introduced to our other main character, side character, Nicole, played by Andrea. I don't know how to say her last name. Markovici. I don't know.
Markovici.
There we go. Markovici.
I assume. Probably way wrong. Oh well.
She's been in a lot of stuff throughout the years. She's been in some Woody Allen films. She was in one of the Airport sequels. I don't know if you're aware of that series. That's something that
is that's a series that Airplane parodied, right?
Yes, it is. Okay. I was about to say, if not, that's a story for another day. And she was in Space Hunter: Adventures in the Forbidden Zone, which is a 3D movie starring Peter Strauss, and one of the first appearances of Molly Ringwald. And I believe they talked about this movie in Red Letter Media. So
yeah, it sounds familiar. The Molly Ringwald being a part of it.
There you go. She plays an ad executive. Essentially, she's creating all of the ads for the stuff, and essentially is the reason why it's so sexy to advertise for it.
Yeah, she's the person responsible for all of like the marketing, like the look of the logo and all that stuff. Like she's responsible for it getting out there in the world.
And Michael Moriarty just breaks right into the commercial, pulls her aside, and is like, "Hey, I want to hire you to advertise for my oil company." Obviously, Michael Moriarty's putting on a ruse. He's just trying to get closer to her to figure out more about the stuff. And she's totally digging it. And he's like, "Let me take you out to dinner. And she goes, does your hotel have room service? And it's kind of like, oh, okay. Wow.
Again, Michael Moriarty though.
I know.
Again, we love you, man. You're a great actor, but a lady like this and a guy like who looks like him, something doesn't add up.
Exactly. Michael Moriarty would have to be like a billionaire to be
Yeah,
pulling her.
I guess that's like how you can rationalize it, because as posing as the oil company guy, he offers to like buy her company and put her in charge of it. So I guess she's like she's like cranking up the moves to 11 to try and like get that deal to happen, I guess. But still, awfully forward for a business partner.
Exactly. But they kind of accept that they're going to do this, and then we cut back to the child from earlier, which I guess we didn't really talk about who he is. I guess like who the actor is for the child. The kid's name is Jason. He's played by actor Scott Bloom. He's been in again a lot of stuff, but he's never really hit that high note of being like a name actor. He was in stuff like John Q, Smoking Aces. He was in a couple episodes of Who's the Boss. So I would say this is probably the
most well
known where he actually has a name in the credits.
Oh geez, yeah. Okay, so you're saying he's like ninja number 4 in the background of other movies. Okay,
exactly.
Gotcha.
And he does such a great job in this, especially as a child actor.
Yeah, say is coming up as like the kid who knows all the crazy shit going on, but no one believes. Like that's always kind of like a hard niche for a kid to pull off. But yeah, it does a great job in this one.
And the kid, he is just absolutely going ham inside of a grocery store, destroying anything that has the stuff in it, ripping it out of people's hands. But as he's doing this, if you like notice in the background, everyone's eating the stuff off of the ground. Like if it spills, like people are like actively eating it.
Oh geez, I didn't notice that. Are they like when he knocks out of the shelves and like they're like on hands and knees scooping it off the ground?
Yeah, it's such great like
creepy
background acting.
Yeah, great little detail.
And then we cut to Michael Moriarty. He shows up to David Aiello. Aiello? Oh, he sounds like Rich Evan now. Danny Aiello. He's a singer in real life. Like he's like a legit singer, Danny Aiello.
Huh.
But in this
is the FDA guy, right?
Yeah, in the movie he plays the FDA guy. And Michael Moriarty is like, everyone but you from the FDA after the approval
of the
stuff is gone. And Danny is like, oh, that's weird. And then in walks his Doberman, and his Doberman is super fucking mean to Danny when he's talking. And even Michael Moriarty states like, hey, your dog's pretty mean to you. What's up with that?
Yeah, it's a really weird, like you're not sure what the hell is going on. Like, you know, something is up, but you're not sure. Like, is the dog pissed at him because he is like taken over by the stuff, or is he scared of the dog because the dog is taken over and he hasn't like, you know, I swallowed the Kool-Aid yet. Like you eventually figure it out, but like you don't know. You can feel the tension in that scene, which is really cool. We don't know what the deal is,
which is so weird that they're able to build tension between Danny. I'm just not even say his last name anymore. Between Danny, Michael Moriarty,
FDA guy,
and this dog, right?
And the dog, right? Yeah, it's really well done. I guess it's got to be some credit to the dog trainer on set to get that dog to behave that way.
But yeah, Michael Moriarty is trying to get some documents from the FDA guy, and so as the FDA guy goes upstairs to grab it, Michael Moriarty just like peeks into a door, and there's a whole bunch of cans of the stuff, and the FDA guy hands over some documents. Michael Moriarty, you know, thanks him for it. And then Danny starts talking to the dog, and essentially he's kind of like, hey, calm down. Like, it's no big deal.
We deserve a treat, don't we?
Yeah.
For you and for me.
Cut to
really weird.
A stuff stand. Like it's almost like it's an ice cream stand.
Yeah.
And people are just going gaga for it. And it kind of like breaks the tension. You think that the scene in Danny is gone, but we immediately cut back to it, and the dog is attacking Danny. And the dog is so smart, it like rips the phone cord
Yeah,
off the wall.
because he's like calling for help. Did he call Michael Moriarty or was he calling someone
I think it
else?
was calling someone else
Okay.
for assistance. But then we get like one of the first gags of the stuff coming out of someone, and it's from the dog. Like,
So cool.
I know. And it cuts to a dummy dog, and white stuff starts coming out of its mouth. It looks great. It looks
Yeah.
so great.
For like a rubber head, like they show it just long enough that you can't, like, it doesn't look as fake as it probably does if you just stared at it for a minute or two. But you just get that quick glimpse of the dog, because like the mouth opens a little too wide, like wider than a real dog could open its mouth, and you see that stuff like start to bubble out of its throat. Just a quick little flash, just to kind of give you just to creep you out, and it works really well.
Yes. And you said it perfectly. It's kind of like when you see a superhero costume and you're like, oh, it kind of looks like shit. You have to see this in motion. It looks better when it's moving and it's doing its thing. Don't just Google a picture of the stuffed dog. Watch the scene, because it's so quick, and because of the movement, it makes it look a lot better.
Yeah, because they cut it pretty well with footage of the actual, like the real live dog attacking him.
Yeah.
That it's pretty seamless.
As we transition back to Michael Moriarty driving, we see some stuff billboards. They do a really good world building here of like showing that stuff is invading even the little nooks and crannies of America, because he pulls up to like bumfuck United States. It's actually in Virginia where they pull up.
East bumfucks.
And Michael Moriarty is kind of like, oh yeah, do you have the stuff, kind of like making conversation with the gas station attendant. And he casually points over to like a Studebaker, and he's like, hey, who owns that car? And the gas station attendant's like, I have no idea.
Yeah, the gas station attendant's being really kind of squirrely, like trying to get him to use the bathroom.
Yeah.
For some reason, he says like, "Oh, it's a nice clean bathroom. You should wash your hands. You probably want to freshen up from a long drive," and just being really kind of squirrely and weird, and you're not quite sure why yet.
And as Michael Moriarty goes over to the car, Garrett Morris pops out from behind it and starts to attack Michael Moriarty. Garrett Morris plays Chocolate Chip Charlie, which I almost feel racist for saying.
Yeah, it does kind of sound that way, but he is legitimately like a washed up executive from a cookie company who was put out of business by the stuff.
Yep. And you know what? I gotta say, I've seen this movie quite a few times, and that like piece of dialogue goes so quick that if you don't hear it, you kind of wonder, who the fuck is Chocolate Chip Charlie? Like, why is this guy here? Because it's only one line, and they never reference back to it. But
yeah, not very often. Yeah, like as I think Michael Moriarty says, like, "Oh, you're that cookie executive," and then one line of, "Yeah, my the stuff people, they got to my brother and they stole all they got all the shares of the company and they forced me out," and then it's never brought up again.
Garrett Morris
sidekick
is best. Well, I won't say best well known for, very well known for being one of the first crew members on SNL. He was part of the first few seasons of Saturday Night Live, where in one of the skits, he was Ant-Man in it, which is why you see him in the Ant-Man movie as a cab driver.
Oh, that's right. He's a cab driver.
Yep.
Yeah.
He also, well, I didn't know this because I never watched Two Broke Girls, but he was in that. He was in 138 episodes, which I would assume is the entire run of the TV show.
So he's had a bit of a career then. Good for him.
But yeah, so Chocolate Chip Charlie, a disgraced chocolate chip empire guy. That's not how I wanted to say it. But that's what the
disgraced chocolate chip empire guy.
That's how we'll go with it. But yeah, despite the little kerfuffle, Chocolate Chip Charlie, Garrett Morris and Michael Moriarty immediately kind of like hit it off. They get like a good rapport going on between each other. And like you said, he kind of goes into his background of who he is and what's his deal. And they kind of start doing the investigation with each other about the stuff and trying to figure out, like, I guess, where it comes from and how many places sell the stuff, which is
Yeah.
pretty much like everywhere at this point.
Yeah, they're pretty much everywhere. Like that's kind of the mission they're on now, is like it's in every store. So they're trying to like trace the distribution route. And that's how they ended up in this same like middle of nowhere town, because it's like they like all of the mailing and forwarding addresses for the company go here. So they both, that's where they both ended up here, because Chocolate Chip Cookie Empire guy wants to like get back at them, and he wants to uncover some secret or something. So that's why they team up here.
And as they're questioning the gas station clerk, or the clerk, this is a different attendant. They're just at they're questioning some clerk. Doesn't matter. They're all fucking cashier jockeys. They're all the same. The clerk is like, I gotta go take a massive shit. I'm pretty sure that's not the piece of dialogue. And he goes back into
I'll be right back.
Yeah, he goes into the bathroom, and then we get another monster shot of the clerk's mouth opening up and the stuff coming out of it and kind of sliding away. And Michael Moriarty and Garrett Morris, they go back there and they're like, oh man, like his jaw shouldn't be that wide open. So they like cheese it. They're like, we got to go, investigate some more.
Something's fucky here. We got to get out of here.
And as they're running, I guess, despite them being in Virginia, now they're next to the bayou, and there's a whole bunch of good old boys, but not like the Trump kind. And they're about to beat down Michael Moriarty and Garrett Morris. And they start casually, I would almost say casually punching. Like Garrett Morris casually punches one of them in the face, and it caves in, and there's just stuff inside of them. And
oh yeah,
Michael Moriarty punches someone, and it's just stuff. Kind of like,
that's such a, I wish they did it more. Like this is the only scene where we get that particular effect, where like they punched I'll call them drones for lack of a better word, but like guys who have been infected by the stuff, right? When they punch them, and like you said, like their face kind of like comes apart like paper mache almost.
It looks great.
It looks awesome. Like their faces just collapse in, and they're just like filled like a water balloon full of stuff. It's such a cool effect.
It's kind of like, and I know we talked about it last week, the scene in RoboCop where the guy gets the toxic waste on him, and he kind of like he gets hit by the car, and then he just kind of like evaporates, right?
Yeah, it's just like explodes into liquid goo.
Like I need 20 more of that guy. I need 20 more of Michael Moriarty, guy, like punching stuff dummies.
Yeah, what we should have gotten was like, we're jumping ahead here, but when they're like, he's driving a tanker truck, and he's like, we needed to see it like him plowing through like a few dozen of those guys.
Oh my god, yes.
With a tanker, and then all just like popping like bubble wrap, like just like goo everywhere. How cool would that have been?
It's like it's almost like the scene in Ghostbusters, just constant explosions of like marshmallow fluff everywhere.
Just marshmallow fluff. Oh man,
that'd be so great. But because there are heroes, Michael Moriarty and Garrett Morris, they break away, and we cut back to the clerk. He's alive, and he eats some stuff as he wakes up.
Oh, I guess the danger's over. I can eat the stuff again.
Yeah. I don't know where these two docked, but they're at a roadside diner, and they're kind of breaking it down. And Michael Moriarty's like, "Hey, do you have any stuff?" And everyone's kind of giving him weird glances.
Side eye, yeah.
It gives you the feeling that all these people are infected already by the stuff.
It's such a cool, I love in movies when they have, I'm trying to think of other examples of this, but like where there's like outsiders in like a cult town, and you can just kind of like feel that there's like a bit of unease, like they're outsiders, and like they're barely kind of tolerating their presence there. They just wanted to move on.
Yes,
I love that. I love that vibe, that creepy cult town vibe.
Same here. Yeah, like there's an inner circle, and you're not aware that you're aware that you're not in it, but you're not aware of what it is. Hot Fuzz.
Yeah. Oh, perfect example. There's like there's like a veneer of normalcy on top of a town and the way people act, but you could tell something's not quite right under the surface.
Exactly. Michael Moriarty gives Garrett Morris an address to go to investigate, and he's like, hey, you got to talk to these people, and we're going to split up now, which is always a great idea to do in a horror movie. And Michael Moriarty cheeses it as he leaves Garrett Morris in a roadside diner in Virginia in the 80s. Even if this wasn't a horror movie, I don't think you would want to leave Garrett Morris in a situation like that. Probably not the best.
No, especially with all the like the sketchy side glances that the rest of the patrons were giving him.
Yes.
Nah, you should probably get out of there.
We cut to New York, and there's a great advertisement for the stuff on the side of the building, and it has the tagline, enough is never enough. And again, just that world building. And we see like
can't get enough of this stuff.
A stuff cart, kind of like a hot dog vendor. And she takes out a walkie-talkie. I almost forgot the word walkie-talkie. And she's like
radio box.
She's like, hey, Michael Moriarty is coming down the road. And a stuff van careens down the road and almost kills him. So it is now definitely, do you think it's like a hive mind?
Oh yeah, like now we're almost dipping into like Invasion of the Body Snatchers or They Live, where like everyone like it's like there's a conspiracy, like the fact that the hot dog stuff vendor lady had the walkie-talkie ready to go, like they're all in on it, and they're all, like you said, a hive mind. They all know that they're looking for people who are digging a little too deep.
There we go.
Perfect.
Michael Moriarty is now in the offices of the stuff, talking to the CEO, who is not the old man from the beginning of the film who ate the stuff from a pulsating hole in the ground, but rather a new old man.
Different old guy who, if you weren't looking closely, could probably be the same guy. Who would know?
Exactly. And they're kind of, Michael Moriarty is putting the works on this old guy. Kind of, he's kind of like going through the punches, right? He's like, I know you want to take down the ice cream people, but it's also kind of weird that this stuff came out of nowhere, and it's never been we don't really know where it's from and stuff like that. It definitely brings on that Michael Moriarty knows he has the edge pieces of the puzzle built. He's now working on filling in the center.
Yeah, and he kind of like tips his hand a little bit to this executive, like I know something fishy's going on.
Yeah,
like, and I'm gonna find out what.
And boy, oh boy, will he. But Michael Moriarty is now talking to the ad executive, and she feels horrible. She's like, I'm the reason why everyone's getting addicted to this stuff. And Michael Moriarty is so casual. He's like, don't fucking worry about it. He's just like, it doesn't matter.
If it wasn't you, would have been someone else.
Exactly.
No biggie.
And he's like, oh, hey, by the way, I'm not an oil guy. That's all a lie. And she doesn't seem fazed by it at all.
No, it's her character in general seems kind of underdeveloped, which is unfortunate because that's a kind of a cool angle. The whole like marketing executive for the evil stuff, trying to redeem herself. But yeah, that whole interaction with her, the relationship with her and Michael Moriarty is really like kind of glossed over. Like, when did she become part of the inner circle? Like, when did he drop that ruse and she just doesn't care?
When did they become active lovers? Because it shows them embracing and kissing and implying that they have sex. I don't know. I don't know.
Kind of glossed over.
It's that Cohen brand of, you don't need to see it. Like,
cut it.
Has nothing to do with the stuff. So
yeah, really, get me more paper mache guys with stuff inside.
It's like, we hired this actress, we got to use her. That could have been like 20 more paper mache men. So
what a waste of money.
But yeah, so again, they're kind of they're restarting their investigation. Essentially, it's just like them regrouping, saying like, hey, we need to get back out there and investigate and figure out what's going on. And they even talk about the boy and the grocery store at this point.
Yeah, because like that, I guess, made national news somehow. Like the kid freaking out in the grocery store ended up on some newspaper that Michael Moriarty saw. He's like, I want to talk to that kid.
Yeah, weird. And then we cut to the kid who's crying in his room because he won't eat the stuff, but he's pretty smart. And all the family has gone full cult of the stuff. That's all they're eating. You see like rotten food in the garbage can, and you just
Yep.
see empty cartons of the stuff.
Just like piles of empty cartons, and it's like that's all that's in the fridge, that's all that's in the cupboards, and they constantly have a cup of stuff in their hands for the rest of the movie.
Cup of stuff.
Cup of stuff.
And in order for him to get out of trouble, he has to eat the stuff. So he takes a carton upstairs and he does the only logical thing with it. He empties it out into the shitter, and you get a really great effect at this point. I guess the stuff doesn't like getting put into the shitter, and it starts moving around, and he flushes it down, and then he fills.
It tries to fight back.
Yeah, it's kind of like that scene in Ghostbusters 2 where the pink slime comes out of the bathtub. But the kid,
You and your Ghostbusters.
you got to. The kid fills the carton with shaving cream, and he starts eating it. And I got to say, the kid is smart and dumb at the same time, like all kids are. Why didn't he just walk downstairs with an empty carton and put like the shaving cream on the side of his mouth and be like, I love this stuff.
Yep. I guess you kind of needed to show like him taking a bite in front of them.
Then how about
to really throw them off the trail? But like, okay, one small bite.
Yep, there you go. Instead kid
of like gulping it down,
eating spoonfuls of the stuff.
the Barbasol stuff.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I mean, I used to shave with Barbasol. There's no way I could imagine eating that.
I don't think I've ever used it. I mean, what does it smell like?
Like menthol.
Menthol-y, yeah.
Yeah.
So like chemically and definitely not food-like.
100%. It is 100% straight up chemicals. It doesn't smell natural at all.
This kid's like wolfing it down like a champ. He's really like crazy like a fox, this kid.
Yep. The dad is a little suspicious while he watches the kid eat it. And as he puts it down on the table, the dad sticks 2 fingers in and licks it. And he's like, this isn't the stuff. And the kid beelines it out the house. Just
such a great shot of like the family looks so creepy in this scene. They like stare longingly at the fridge, and they're I gotta talk about the lighting here, because like they open the fridge and they've got that creepy lighting on their faces from below.
Yes.
So they get that like really that like sunken in eye look, and they're like looking at the fridge, like licking their lips. It's so creepy. And then the lighting when they chase him out of the house, and they're all like they're backlit like a bunch of like ghosts almost.
It's kind of foggy
put my
too.
finger on.
It's like
kind of foggy,
Exorcist style lighting.
Yeah,
where you only see entities. You don't see them as people.
Yeah, it just kind of outlines almost.
Really,
really well done.
And as the kid gets to the road, Michael Moriarty pulls up, and he's like, I believe you. I saw the stuff move too, and that's enough to kidnap a kid.
Get it? Oh my! I'm glad you called that out. Like I wrote down specifically, this kid is so terrified by his own family that he's willing to get into some rando's car. Not only some random guy, but a random guy who looks like Michael Moriarty.
Yeah.
Sure, whatever. Just get me the hell out of here.
God damn it, Michael! You're just a trusting guy.
You're just a trusting looking guy. Yeah.
And Michael Moriarty even comments. He's like, "Wow, like your family's really fast."
Yeah, they got that stuff energy.
But yeah, the kid's like, "Hey, I vomited in the back seat of your car." Michael Moriarty's like, "Well, sometimes you just gotta vomit."
So sometimes you just gotta eat the shaving cream.
Yeah, it's so
What?
He's so matter of fact. It's like he's like that cool uncle that's kind of like, "Oh, you killed a person," and that happens sometimes, man.
Sometimes you just gotta kill a guy.
It's just so weird.
Okay.
But yeah, so Michael Moriarty, the kid, and the woman have all finally assembled. So we got our core team, and so they get on a plane, and as they land, Michael Moriarty and the ad executive depart. They're gonna go take a tour of the stuff facility because they're posing. She's still the ad executive, and now Michael Moriarty is posing as her secretary. It doesn't matter because it's almost immediately dropped. But as they're getting the tour of the stuff factory, the kid in the plane ditches it because it starts filling up with stuff.
Yeah, like because they like leave him in the plane. It's a private jet, I guess, that the woman had, and they left the kid there with a pilot. And like as they're like refueling the plane, one of the like airport like maintenance people like launches stuff at the pilot and then starts filling up which is a really cool effect whenever they do when the stuff like comes
Yes.
out and it's like starts moving on its own. I I feel like we should talk about now like in these scenes, is it a miniature or do they actually like is it soap foam? Like how do they make the stuff in big volumes like that?
I would almost assume that it's not a miniature. They're just probably pumping out high amounts of shaving cream
Shaving
because
cream.
that's
Okay,
what they
some kind
used
of-
for the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Okay, so that was all shaving cream too.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Because it looks great. I mean, it looks very similar to what's in the tubs that they actually put in their mouth. So they did a good job replicating that kind of like viscous look.
According to Larry Cohen, the stuff is made of a foam blended from fish bones, and it stank.
What?
That's weird.
I would have. I was thinking either shaving cream or soap or something like a very fine soap bubble foam, but fish. What?
Yeah, that's
Wow.
what it says.
Can you imagine like a bunch of fish foam under like bright studio lights, like hot bright studio lights for hours at a time?
That's gotta be
Ugh.
rank.
And it must have ruined anything it touched, like clothes, furniture, shoes, anything.
Ugh, disgusting.
Nasty.
But as the airplane fills up with the stuff, the kid runs to the stuff factory and he sees some workers coming up and he decides to hide in the belly of a stuffed tanker that's empty at this point. But again, this goes back to smart. The kid hid, dumb. He hid into the thing that the stuff goes inside of to transport it.
Yeah, what the hell was that choice about? Like, it definitely seems like a little kid choice. Like, oh, I'll sneak in the truck. They'll never find me in here. But like, wasn't thinking ahead to like,
Yeah,
what the hell would happen when they start filling the tank?
they put gasoline in this thing. Like, like you're stupid, kid.
Yeah.
But we cut back to the stuff facility and again, they're just kind of like going through the motions of this is what the stuff is and how we package it and whatnot. What I find really odd, though, is Michael Moriarty and the ad executive leave and they go to a motel and they're chilling and they never go. Where the fuck did that kid go?
Yeah. They seem to kind of forget about the kid pretty quickly. They just kind of assume everything. Like you think that like if you left him with the pilot, you'd be checking in. Like, hey, is things still cool? Because I think they even comment like, oh, if you don't hear from us, take the kid to somewhere. Like fly that, yeah, and wait for our call. Like
Disney.
Taking the kid to Disney World, yeah, whatever. But they don't check in. They don't like ask to see, like call anyone to see if he's okay.
Nothing.
Oh.
But as
Poor kid.
Michael Moriarty and the woman are asleep, some stuff jumps out of a pillowcase and attaches onto Michael Moriarty's face. And the woman's like, I'm going to set your face on fire to get it off. To her credit, it does work.
But again, like that's like another choice that the kid would make. Like, oh, I'll just set this evil stuff on fire, like while it's on his face. Like, well, okay, then it melts and then his face melts off too.
Yeah.
Also, can we talk about how charming and quaint it is that there's like an oil lamp in a hotel room?
I know, right? That definitely takes you back, right? Like,
oh, the 80s.
This is acceptable. Flammable liquids just that you can open and spray everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Like that any kid in the hotel room could knock over and cause like a massive fire. Sure. But whatever. It's an 80s movie. I'll go with it.
Then out of nowhere, some Paul Bunyan looking motherfucker comes in and starts fighting. And they do this great scene where the room is built on a gimbal in real life. And the actors are being turned. So like Michael Moriarty and the woman are actually like standing at a weird like 90-degree angle while the guy is on the roof of the room and he's just getting
Mhm.
stuff sprayed all over him. It looks great. And then of
It
course
looks awesome.
they light him on fire, and then the hotel room is on fire, and
And then
everything is on
Boogaloo
fire.
Shrimp comes out and starts dancing on the
Yeah.
ceiling.
It's so great. It's so great. But yeah,
It,
they're like,
it's probably, this had to have been one of the most expensive scenes in the whole movie. Like the fact that they had like the room on the gimbal, like you said, and like I think we get the most like sheer volume of
stuff.
that fish foam
Yeah.
in the whole movie. It looks awesome.
But Michael Moriarty and the ad executive, they're essentially like, we need to go back and steal one of those tankers, which is great because the boy is still inside the tanker.
Uh-huh.
So
Which, why did they need? Was it like we just like need the tanker truck full of the stuff for proof
it
for
doesn't.
someone?
It makes no sense. The proof would be taking him to the site where the stuff is coming out of the ground, not
Yeah, right.
a tanker truck full of it.
So like we get to that spot where they're like surveilling that like hole in the ground where they're piping out all the stuff, right? Wouldn't it suffice to just take a bunch of really high resolution photographs of that spot and showing them, like documenting the fact that they're piping it out of the ground into the trucks?
Yeah.
Like do it real sneaky, like without like causing a whole big stir and fighting people. Wouldn't that work? I don't know.
I think that would work.
That's just me.
Also, I don't remember, but Michael Moriarty all of a sudden just has like plastic explosives, and he starts setting them up around the site where they're pumping out the stuff. Again,
Oh my god, you're right. He does.
yeah,
Because he sneaks around in a perimeter and attaches them to like, because it's like it looks like a strip mine. So there's like all these like steep like sheer cliff walls all around it, and then they're like driving trucks down in and out to pipe the stuff out. And he's like planting it every couple of feet, a big thing of plastic explosive on the rock wall.
yep.
But where did he get? Like, he's like some secret commando now?
He's
I mean, I think we all would love to see that movie, but
he's FBI man.
he's FBI man, got all the gadgets.
As he's walking by the tanker trucks, he hears the kid inside of one of them, and essentially he's like, okay, I'm going to steal this one. And that's what he does. He steals the truck, he blows the mine, so gravel and rock and shit goes over the stuff hole.
The stuff hole.
Yeah, he runs over a stuffer.
That's what they call it, like the stuff infected people.
And
stuffies.
it looks great. It looks awesome. And then they get pulled over by the cops. And I thought this scene was great because the woman, as she exits, she's like, oh my God, look at the stuff over there. Let's fucking eat it. And
aren't you so hungry? I know, I haven't had stuff in hours. And the cop, clearly infected, is like, that's a good idea.
yep. And then Michael Moriarty judo chops him in the neck, and he gets knocked out.
Sucker.
And then I love the movie, but then the movie takes a weird turn. It takes a weird right turn.
Out of nowhere, we get to the Colonel.
Yes. At the hour mark, Michael Moriarty drives up to it looks like an abandoned church, and he's walking towards it. A bunch of army people come out of nowhere, and they're like, we're taking you to the Colonel. And he's like, that's cool, because that's what I wanted to do. And he starts talking to the Colonel Spears, who is played by Paul Sorvino, who, if you've ever seen a movie with the Italian mob in it, you've seen Paul Sorvino.
I think he was the Godfather in Goodfellas, right?
He was, yep.
I'm sure otherwise. That's what I know him from, but I'm sure, yeah, like every mafia movie.
He's right here looking at something. He's in The Godfather of Harlem. He is mob guy that you hire.
Mob boss number one. Got it.
Exactly. But Michael Moriarty's like, hey, I need your help. And if you don't help me, I'm going to show pictures of you having sex with a 17-year-old girl.
Yeah, it just seems very rushed.
What a way to set up your hero. Hey, you pedophile. Yeah. If you don't help me, I'm going to tell your wife that you're a pedophile.
Yeah, like where did this come from? Does he just have like a running backlog of blackmail material on everybody?
I don't know.
I guess
he's that good.
He's just Michael Moriarty, man. He's that good. He's got plastic explosives and blackmail tapes.
Why not just go, hey, I have pictures of you cheating on your wife. Why the 17-year-old angle? I don't get that.
Yeah, from like a writing perspective. Yeah, to make it all that much more scathing. I don't know.
It's
kind of a weird choice to make,
especially because you're kind of setting up Paul Sorvino as being a hero character. You don't have your hero show up in the film and kill a dog. He saves the dog.
Okay, yeah, good. That's a really good point. Like he's supposed to be like a savior character to help out Michael Moriarty and the crew. Why would you make him out to be a pedophile?
Yeah.
Too. Interesting. Okay, so here's another question that I had though. Who the hell is the colonel, and what is he a colonel of?
Dude,
like, is this just like real? Is he like part of the normal military? Is it like some scary militia?
I think it's like a paramilitary militia type deal here. He is off the reservation, as they say. He is a colonel in name only, and he has no real official connection to the DoD.
Okay, he's just like some rogue unit, almost like the rogue unit in Die Hard 2.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of weird, but again, so
living in a castle, an old like Spanish mission in the middle of nowhere. Sure, whatever, movie. We're along for the ride.
This is the only part of the movie that hiccups for me. So yeah, essentially Michael Moriarty's like, hey, we need you in the military, your military, not the American military, to help fight the stuff. And Paul Sorvino is in on it. But Paul Sorvino's character, it's constantly going, don't give me any of your pinko commie crap. It's always stuff like that, like pinko commie crap, because this is the 80s and it's the Red Scare and everything else like that, right?
Yeah, that's like that's the only reason he goes in on this whole plan, is because he thinks the commies are behind it. They're infiltrating they're using the stuff to infiltrate America from within. Communism.
And also, again, Paul Sorvino's character is racist.
Oh yeah.
He's like casually racist, which means that it's like ingrained in him.
Hey, Paulie, you're a little too good at those lines, buddy.
Yeah. So anyways, the colonel is aboard. Paul Sorvino is wanting to help Michael Moriarty, so they're gonna go at it. But you know what? It's actually interesting because the kid goes like, what part of the army are you in, to like just some random soldier, and the random soldier is like the one that's gonna save your life. It's kind of like a throwaway line.
That's a weird way to dodge that question. So scary militia group, got it.
Yeah. So the scary militia army, they roll up onto the stuff factory, and they're gonna break in, and that's precisely what they do. They start just blowing away people that are stuff infected. Paul Sorvino makes like a comment, and he's like, "Oh man, I like blood, but not this white stuff." And
again, for like the guy who's like saving the day, why would you characterize him like that? This like bloodthirsty, violent, addicted psychopath. I love this look of blood, but this stuff is too much for me.
Yeah.
What?
And as they get into the factory, there's just a sea of dead people, but these are like legit dead people. They're not stuff infected. And they're like, oh man, they're just killing people now, left and right. Commie bastards, mass suicide, KGB. Paul Sorvino like bashes in the face of one of the dead people, and just like blood comes out, and he's like, yep, he's real. Again, just like super weird stuff. Just super weird.
I have to say, that was another cool effect. Like it was another, like the one earlier in the movie where it was like a paper mache person that they're like a husk of a normal person, and when he kicks it, it's blood, but it's like powder almost, like they're just like hollow and dry inside. It was kind of a cool effect. Weird line, but cool effect.
Yeah. And then for some reason, the boy and the ad executive, they go explore in the stuff factory, thinking it's safe. I put that in finger quotes. And then they get chased by a stuffed blob, and it starts essentially destroying the factory. There's a really cool miniature shot of stuff breaking down a wall. It looks really great.
Yeah, the handful of shots that are miniatures, it's really well blended, because I think you're right. I think most of the time they just outright made a lot of the fluff to use in like live action, but some of the miniature work is really well done.
It is. As they're flying away, Paul Sorvino goes, "Hey, I own a few radio stations. Let's go to
Huh.
one and we can broadcast stuff."
What a coincidence.
And as they land, like there's like a sea of taxi cabs, and they all start transporting everyone to the radio station.
What a stupid way to transport like army guys, and we're gonna take a cab.
It's a stupid way, but
It's just so stupid.
Greg, my runner-up for quote of the week is Paul Sorvino going, "Troops, pay the drivers, issue a 10% tip." What?
Such specific orders.
It's like Larry Cohen sat down and he's like, "I need a joke. I need like a visual gag and an audio joke." And he's like, "Why don't they just take taxis?"
See, that's the thing. Like in any other movie, I feel like this would have just been like lazy and stupid, but you have to wonder, like, was he in on the joke? Like, did he realize how stupid it was to have them take cabs and then have like a line specifically talking about how much to tip the cabbies on the way back?
100%. I would be willing to wager like my pinky finger that Larry Cohen was in on the joke.
Yeah, he must have been. It was just such a weird choice.
It's great. And that's what they do. They all go off and they pay the taxis, and then they get inside the radio broadcasting room, and we're met with Chocolate Chip Charlie again. He's there.
He's back.
And Michael Moriarty and the ad executive are writing the apology letter and the instructions of what to do, right? To, get rid of the stuff, burn it.
Their broadcast message for the radio.
And as Chocolate Chip Charlie and the ad executive, they go into a separate room. Chocolate Chip Charlie starts talking about how he knows the pains of hunger for wanting the stuff. And that's when we realize he's a stuffy.
Dun, dun, dun.
And we get a really great effect of Garrett Morris's head like coming off of his body, and just a fountain of stuff.
Oh yeah,
coming out of him.
It looks like a Pez dispenser almost.
It does.
Like the top part of his head just like wheels back. And again, it's one of those cases where it transitions from like him live action to the rubber dummy head, but it looks so good. Like such a detailed like fake head. When it opens up, it's really, really creepy.
And it's kinetic. Like the camera's always moving, so you don't just get like a still picture of the dummy.
Yep.
And it cuts fairly quick to keep the action moving. So yeah, it looks absolutely great. And they electrocute the stuff and set it on fire to save the ad executive and the kid. And then they get on the horn or the broadcast, and Paul Sorvino starts going, "Hey, I'm a colonel that you don't know, and you need to start destroying the stuff. You need to start throwing it away. You need to start burning it." And then we get shots of everyone doing it across America. Everyone starts burning the stuff. And now we still got
so optimistic.
We got 6 minutes left of the movie, but let's pause it right here. This would never fucking happen.
Thank you. Yeah. There's no way that one crazy sounding radio broadcast would convince anybody.
I don't want to get too political, but Arizona just said again that Biden won the state. And there are still people that are going, "No, he didn't." This is like the 4th time that they've done this or something.
Oh, yeah.
And like people are just like, "No, that's not true." Like you can't even get people to agree who the president is right now to some degree.
Yeah, for like basic facts of life like that were and yeah, the fact that people don't believe that, why would you think that anyone would believe that their like favorite yogurt product is actually a secret alien substance that's taking over your mind?
Exactly.
And you should destroy it. Like, are you kidding me? Hell no. No one would believe that.
Yeah. In fact, if this movie was remade, which I hope it never does, but it's probably ripe for a remake, the
Probably.
the ending should be that they don't beat the stuff. That everyone that there's some
Oh, yeah.
asshole that's like fake news, and it's just a political agenda or something like that.
Oh, yeah, because it sounds like such a tinfoil hat sounding thing. Like no one would believe it.
Yeah. But
And they would
instead,
just keep right on eating it.
we get everyone destroying the stuff, lots of
Hooray!
explosions, people cheering. It looks great. And then
there's that one great miniature shot where there's like people are like dynamiting a stuffed ice cream stand.
yes,
It's like sitting right between a McDonald's and a Burger King or something, and you see the miniature blow up. It's awesome.
you could feel Larry Cohen going, "We only got one shot at this, guys.
Yeah,
Make it good."
And also we get that sweet McDonald's plug-in.
Yes.
Woo.
Michael Moriarty goes back to the stuff or the ice cream people, and he notices that the stuff guy is also there, and he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna come out with a new product called the Taste. It uses ice cream and a small amount of the stuff to make it slightly addictive, but not enough to make people go crazy for it."
Mhm. I've heard that one before.
So Michael Moriarty pulls out a gun, and then the kid comes in, and he's got a box full of the stuff. And the old guys are like, "You're just a kid. Why are you doing this?" And he's like, "Well, my parents died, and I've seen a lot of stuff."
I've seen a lot of shit. I'm a man now.
Yep. And they start force feeding these guys eating the stuff. And you can tell by the end, they've eaten tubs and tubs of it. They're highly addicted.
Mm-hmm.
And then you hear the sirens approaching, and Michael Moriarty and the kid are like right on time. And I don't really get what that meant.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, were they intending to force feed them to get addicted so that they can then like call the cops on them to like come cart them away and lock them up or something?
I'm assuming the stuff is illegal at this time, but they never really said that. They needed like a little.
Yeah.
They needed a throwaway line of going, "The stuff is now illegal to own and eat in the United States of America." Like
any infected family members or neighbors, please turn them into the police immediately.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Because then we also get another like postscript of a van pulling up, and like it's the stuff, and they're like, there's a guy who like dips his finger in it and he tastes it, and he's like, "Yeah,
it's the real shit.
It's the real shit." And then it ends.
I do like that ending where that's like it becomes like a black market thing, because like there's no way you could have a movie like this end on a totally happy note. Like,
definitely.
It would just drive underground. So I think that was. I'm glad that they didn't lean 100% on, "Yay, we got it. We defeated the alien stuff." I like the idea of it becoming like a black market thing.
Same here. I mean, I thought again, I absolutely love this movie. It takes a weird turn when Paul Sorvino's character comes in to play. I thought that the ending should have been different. Probably not when I first saw it, but now after you realize that people don't that there would people would be like, zombies aren't real as they're getting eaten by zombies. So
head in sand syndrome.
Yeah. I love the film. It's 4.5 out of 5 for me.
Yeah, same exact thing for me. 4.5. I mean, really, the rushed feeling ending with the colonel and that whole militia, that's really the only ding I give it. Otherwise, it's like B horror sci-fi movie perfection. It's everything you expect in a B movie.
Yes.
It doesn't mess around. It's got cool gore effects. It's got creepy images. It's not like highbrow like art that makes you think, but it does have a kind of a relatable message at the same time. But it's a lot of fun. It's just overall, it's a great watch.
Do you know who the actor Patrick Dempsey is?
The name sounds really familiar. What would I know him from?
Grey's Anatomy, Enchanted.
Oh yeah. He's the, what's his name? What's that nickname they
Dr.
gave him?
McDreamy.
McDreamy, yeah,
Yep.
Exactly.
Okay, so at the end, not the guy who tastes the stuff, but the guy who's obviously buying it, that's Patrick Dempsey.
Oh, in the little drug deal scene at
Yeah.
the end. That's
Like for 1 second,
wow.
Patrick Dempsey's in the film.
Boy, his career really came a long way, didn't it?
Uncredited underground stuff buyer number 2. It's
Uncredited. Wow.
yeah.
Good for him.
There we go, Patrick Dempsey. Good job.
Although it was Grey's Anatomy, so as far as I'm concerned, that was a step down.
Yeah. But yeah, awesome movie. Absolutely
Yep.
awesome
It's
movie.
I think one of the reasons I like it also is that I think I mentioned it before. I love movies and stories about like cults. I think it's the reason I like a lot of the older like H.P. Lovecraft kind of stories where what's the one like a horror Innsmouth or something like that, where like the guy goes to town and it's all like the creepy fish people cult. It's just there's something about those kind of stories and movies that I really like. And this one, honestly, it would be a 5 out of 5 if they kept more of that as opposed to making it like an outright like action movie at the end. Like if they like leaned more into the creepy like One of Us, Invasion of the Body Snatchers kind of thing.
Yep. I agree with you. It went action at the end when it should have stayed psychological.
Yeah, stuck more with a cult. I think honestly, I think if they'd not made it so that the stuff could like act on its own as like a blob, like making it like a blob ripoff almost, like making it like it has to act through people. I think that might have done it a little bit better. But honestly, like this is all just nitpicks. It's a perfectly awesome movie on its own.
Oh, definitely. Highly, highly recommended. Anyone to see it. You can watch it on Shudder or just buy the fucking movie off of Amazon. It deserves.
Is there a Blu-ray of this one?
There is a Blu-ray of this one. So I was actually thinking about buying it because I only have it on DVD. I know, gross. But
standard definition.
I know. But then I went Blu-ray. Why wouldn't I just wait for 4K?
It's a movie like this, like we're seeing a lot of like underground kind of like cult B movies getting 4K remasters for places like Vinegar Syndrome and Blue Underground and some other ones. Like it's just a matter of time before someone does a 4K pass it all, like the Larry Cohen library.
Yes. So weird that the stuff is going to probably get a 4K transfer before, some Oscar award winning film.
Yeah. Like proper like highbrow art.
Yeah.
What a time to be alive.
It's so great. But yeah, the stuff, it's great. I am addicted to it.
Oh yeah. You're addicted to the stuff.
So you heard my quotes of the week for this film, but what was what is the official quote of the week?
So I too had a quote of the week and a runner up because there's just so many good lines in this. The one that I picked for quote of the week actually isn't something that Michael Moriarty says. It's something that was like the ice cream executive says early on. It's when they're like getting ready, like they hired Michael Moriarty and he left, and they're like just like begrudgingly had the fact that they had to hire him in the first place, but they're like, but he really is the best, and I suppose we do have to keep the world safe for ice cream.
Look, are you sure we want to get mixed up with industrial spies?
Hey, look, I want results, and he's the best there is. And it's men like Mo Rutherford that help us stay in business.
Yes, I suppose we do have to keep the world safe for ice cream.
The reason I like it so much is that it's such a goofy line to say like on the face of it, but it's something that you can absolutely hear someone think of someone saying in real life, like some out of touch executive who like needs to protect their monopoly on a product. We got to keep the world safe for oil. We got to keep the world safe for cigarettes. You know what I mean?
It's exactly. I can fully see some executive at one point going, we need to ensure that cigarettes survive. Like we understand that cigarettes kill people, but this is how we make money.
Yeah, we got to survive. This is like they're doing the world some great service by keeping ice cream in the world. Like, I mean, obviously it's a better alternative than alien goo, but in the real world, like you could definitely see someone saying that for all the wrong reasons.
It's the fake news, right? It's the equivalent of someone saying fake news.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such a believable line, especially nowadays, that I had to pick it. It got like probably the loudest guffaw out of me when I was watching this. And we'll hear it right now. Wow, what a
I
great
love it. It's so
classic. And
great.
if not for that awful speedboat sound effect that we got tripping in at the end there, but still awesome. The other one, though, the runner-up is a Michael Moriarty quote. It's, I think, his last line in the movie where he's force feeding the ice cream executive, the same one who said the first quote of the week, actually. He's force feeding him and he says, "Are you eating it or is it eating you?"
Are you eating it or is it eating you?
I love it.
So perfect.
That's a great one there too.
What a way to end the movie.
Oh man.
So what else you been watching, Phil?
I was about to say, speaking of movies.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I have actually watched a few movies. I watched Kate on Netflix. Have you heard of Netflix?
Is it like a thing where you can get movies online?
Yeah, it's this thing that you log into and you go, I really want to watch this movie, and then they don't have it.
And they don't have it, but they've got other movies you never heard of and are garbage.
So
yeah.
I wouldn't say that this one was garbage. I will say that it is a serviceable action film. Kate came out, it's a new release, so 2021 release. It stars the absolutely drop dead gorgeous Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Woody Harrelson, and a bunch of Japanese actors that I can go like, hey, I've seen them and stuff, but I don't know their names.
Pick them out of crowd. Yeah.
Kate is about a hit woman who has been drugged and has less than 24 hours to live, and she has to exact revenge on her enemies. So it's
That's a cool idea.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like a paint by numbers revenge action film. Mary Elizabeth Winstead does a great job in it. She's totally believable. She's believable because she's a taller woman. At least like that's how she's kind of seen in the movie. So I think she is kind
of tall in real life. Yeah, that makes sense. I could see her having like a Ripley vibe in an action movie.
Okay, dude. Are you like reading my fucking mind? So Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Ripley, if you look at scenes or how she looks in this movie and you put it up against a picture of Ripley from like Aliens, she could play Ripley's daughter. Dude, I just sent you a picture in Discord.
Oh, let's see here.
Look at them. That could be like Ripley's daughter. There could be like an Alien Isolation movie.
Oh my god. Okay, like yeah, the hair, not like the haircut, but the color.
Yes.
And she's got really prominent cheekbones too, just like Sigourney Weaver. You're 100% right. I've never seen these side by side like this before, but that is 100% my dream movie. Would be an Alien Isolation film adaptation with her playing. She's Amanda Ripley.
Yeah, Amanda.
Right, Amanda. How cool would that be? She'd be a perfect casting too.
Yes, 100%. It's worth your time. It's a little bit long, and there's at one point it feels like the movie should have ended, but then it keeps going. But it's definitely worth it if you got some time and you're wanting to kind of just sit back and watch a mindless action film. I watched The Beastmaster, a Vinegar Syndrome release. I finally got around to watching that.
Was that did you get the 4K release of that
4K,
one?
yes.
Oh, yeah.
So they call this guy the Beastmaster, but he only has like 4 beasts, and one of them is a ferret.
That ferret's adorable. You shut the hell up about that ferret.
It is adorable. The movie is a lot of fun. I had a great time watching it. This one suffers the same fate as Kate, in which the movie logically ends, and then it just keeps going on for like 15 more minutes.
Yeah. It is kind of overlong, but I love that. Like, what's the genre? It's like sword and sandal, I think is the name of it, right? I haven't seen a ton of them, but compared to Red Sonja, which you watch on the podcast,
you watch your mouth,
and Hercules, I will take Beastmaster any day.
Oh, same. I will say the Beastmaster again was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
And Rip Torn as the evil bad guy.
Yes.
What stupid but also amazing casting.
But I can't find it I'm more excited to see Beastmaster 2 through the portal of time, where Dar takes a portal to the future to stop his evil brother from stealing an atomic bomb and traveling back in time to blow everyone up.
I've never seen the sequel, but that sounds amazing.
And then I watched another movie, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, which I
Yeah.
believe we watched that one kind of together.
Yeah, it was kind of so the Shudder did an Elvira kind of 40th anniversary.
40th,
Or was
yeah.
it 30? Yeah, 40th anniversary kind of special. So she did her kind of like horror host shtick, and the first one that she did, was her movie, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. And yeah, we watched it kind of the same time. We were kind of chatting back and forth, and I had never seen it. But yeah, I'll let you give your take on it.
I love this movie.
Yeah.
It's got massive UHF vibes. It kind of plays fast and loose with its humor. It's very meta at points. Obviously, Elvira breaks the fourth camera or the fourth wall multiple times throughout the movie, talking about boobs and sex and stuff like that.
Like looking at the camera a couple times too, which is always funny.
Yes. I absolutely adore this film. I can't recommend it. I will say this. The people that I would recommend it to are people that I know that would like this movie. I would never recommend this to like my mom to watch.
Yeah, like general audiences.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're a horror fan and you like horror comedies and you like kind of her shtick, like kind of like campy, like she does like a lot of one-liners. Is kind of her thing too.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, she's like a like a
Michael
sexy
Moriarty.
Rodney Dangerfield.
sexy Rodney Dangerfield. I was gonna say sexy Michael Moriarty.
Or we were kind of on the same wavelength there, but like it was like all like the goofy one-liners. It's definitely, if you know Elvira from her like her character, you'll like the movie for sure.
Exactly. There's like lines where it's like, excuse me, is this face taken? Because they're like, she's looking for a place to sit. It's just it's a lot of fun. And it's kind of topical because Elvira is coming back into the mainstream, and especially with her announcement in her book that recently came out where she's bisexual. I don't think she's lesbian because she was in a
she was married for a long time.
She was married for
like
19 years to a guy, but she has had a 19-year relationship with a woman. And
yeah,
it was interesting. I was reading a couple things about it after the news broke, and she was always, I guess, kind of afraid of coming out for the sake of the Elvira character because she's kind of a horn dog in the movie.
Yeah, I guess like because that's part of her character is like that kind of like very sexualized and very it's I could see her being afraid of that, which is a shame. It's like, especially like I think the horror community is very accepting.
Oh yeah,
it's it's a shame that she had felt like she had to wait so long, but I'm glad she was able to kind of like open up that side of her. I didn't realize that she had a book too. I'm sure she writes about that there too.
But yeah, I mean, I had a really great time watching it. What about you?
What have I been watching? So yeah, obviously,
have you watched anything? Because you were on vacation.
So I was on vacation, so not a ton. I did watch yesterday. Obviously, we watched Elvira. On Friday, after we got back, I wanted to kind of chill out and watch because it's getting to Halloween time. I'm starting to like ramp up. We've got our schedule of all of these movies we're going to watch in October, but I wanted to kind of like things that didn't quite make that cut. I wanted to watch, now that September's kind of wrapping up. And one of my favorites is The Changeling, from 1980.
Yes.
George C. Scott,
classic. Scott. Oh man,
it's such, you think about it on paper, or you look at it on paper and you think George C. Scott plays a subdued composer, which is not his thing, like the guy from Patton, right? Like not something you would think, but it's so the premise is like he's a composer, and early on in the movie he loses his family in a car accident, and he kind of moves away from New York to Seattle to kind of like restart his life and kind of like just like process his grief, and he moves into this big old house that turns out to be haunted, and that's kind of the setup for the movie. And you don't think that it should work, but it works so well as like a really kind of grounded, slow burn haunted house movie. every time I watch it, I find out I see something new or some new detail. It's just so well done. There's a really great seance scene in it, which are always kind of, you run the risk of being cheesy when you do those, but it totally works. I don't want to spoil it too much, but there's a really great spot near the end where like they find an old well underneath a house that they dig up, and there's a body in it, and it's just so creepy and well done, and somehow George C. Scott sells it. So highly recommended to anyone.
Was his better horror performance in The Changeling or Exorcist 3?
I think probably Exorcist 3, because I think it plays more to his strengths in that one. I think he, like that kind of like hard-boiled detective, which he plays in Exorcist 3, I think fits his style better. But it's a close, Changeling would be a close second for me in his horror performances. Yeah.
It's also because you like the fish monologue, right?
It's tasty fish.
I've got nothing
in my
against
bathtub. I got nothing against it, but my mother-in-law's got it in the bathtub, and I want to take a bath. If you've never seen Exorcist 3 and you've got no idea what the hell we're talking about, go Google Exorcist 3 fish monologue, and
It's so weird.
You're welcome.
Oh man.
But no, there's the Changeling is sadly lacking in fish monologues.
Yes.
But it makes up for that in great sound effects, great imagery.
It makes up for it in every other way.
In every other normal movie way. Just a great haunted house movie. And if you're listening to this and you're looking for something kind of creepy, something you maybe haven't seen before to watch during Halloween times, definitely give it a look.
What about anything else? Did you watch any, like, because you were at Disney, did you watch a Disney movie?
No, weirdly, like, so my wife and I were in the hotel room, and you'd think that they would have like Disney Plus piped into the Disney Resort TVs. They don't.
I would assume you could watch nothing but Disney stuff on
Right?
Disney Resort ground.
Yeah, it's we skimmed around a little bit, but it's just like regular cable TV. So like we normally do because we don't have cable at home, but normally what we do when we're in a hotel room with cable, we would like go find like the trashiest reality shows. And usually we end up on the Travel Channel watching horrible like paranormal nonsense.
Nice. You're watching like Scott Baggins or whatever.
Oh yes, what's his name? Yeah, Scott Bakula. Yep, that's him. No, there's one that we really like. It's called they all blend together, but there's like one, it's like there's like an Italian private detective who's like the grounded one, and then there's like a psychic lady, and they kind of play off each other. He's like the realist, and we just every time we see him, we like mime what he's saying, but like a really thick Italian accent, and we constantly throw in the word gabagool.
Like,
I think
a skeptic in the Italian.
The skeptic and the gabagool. Yeah, so like whenever like something moves in a house, it's like, and then the ghost, they ate all my gabagool. That's the joke that we make, and it's a lot of fun. So that's what we did while we were at Disney.
Nice.
Gabagool ghost.
Well, next episode. Now, here's the thing. I did some pre-research so we don't get another Cocoon situation here.
Oh.
Now, I know we usually like to watch these movies on Sunday because that's when we record. But Greg, if you're going to watch this one free, you've got 4 fucking days to do it. Because it leaves Amazon Prime in 4 days, which I'm assuming is when it switches over to October. So Thursday.
Yeah, the month end. Okay.
So if you're going to watch American Ninja, released in 1985, starring Michael Dudikoff, for free, watch it in 4 days. Else,
oh my gosh,
you're going to pay for that shit.
If this were a different movie, like a stupid boner comedy, it'd be hard pressed to get me to watch it ahead of time. But a ninja movie of the caliber that we've seen it so far on this podcast, you don't have to twist my arm. I will watch that while it's still free.
Exactly. I mean, again, we like the Ninja series. I would say like we're actual fans of the Ninja trilogy, not in an ironic sense.
Yeah, they're fun B action movies. Shokushoji is a national treasure.
Exactly. So, but I don't know what Michael Dudikoff brings to the table. That doesn't really, to me, that doesn't say ninja.
That's not the stamp of quality to you in martial arts film.
But yeah, that's the next film, the 1985 American classic, American Ninja.
American Ninja.
I'm assuming it's probably going to go free to some other streaming service, but unless you want to get stuck probably getting some chud like Peacock or Paramount Plus or CBS All
Crackle,
Access or
Tubi.
Crackle, Tubi, Quibi.
Quibi's back, and they've got American Ninja.
And we cut it up into 100 different spots so we can you can watch it on the go.
And made it portrait mode.
Yeah, this isn't a horrible fucking idea.
Hot takes on Quibi, folks. You hear to hear first.
So there you go. American Ninja. Did you have anything else to bring up or talk about?
No, that's it. I'm quite looking forward to American Ninja.
Awesome.
Can't wait.
Well, if you like what you're hearing, please subscribe and give us some feedback. You can reach us at thatscanon@gmail.com. You can head over to TikTok and follow us at That's Canon Podcast. You can go to YouTube and search for That's Canon. We're also there. And next quarter, look for our ad inside of Shock Cinema Magazine.
Woo!
That's right. We're going to be those guys that you look at in a magazine and go, what the fuck? But
who reads magazines anymore?
Exactly. I do. I'm telling you, the guy's going to send me an issue of it for free. I'm going to go out and buy other issues.
and just hand them out to anyone on the street who'll take it.
Be like, hey, check out this page. Look at the ads. That's right. That's canon, baby.
Can't wait.
And remember, since we said it,
that's canon.